Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by Patreon provider Scott. This is the second of several optics that he sent me for review, and it is one that people have been requesting for a while. However, it's not what you think. This is not a legitimate ACOG. This is in fact, $70 Chinese knockoff. I thought he was joking when he said he had this. I didn't even really know these existed, but knowing that if there is a product such as an ACOG, which is as highly regarded as they are, and have the price tag that they have, buying them new is several $100s to $1,000, it makes sense to me that a company would try to profit on counterfeit components like this. So what do we have here exactly? Well, it's an on hunt. I believe it's a 3X, and it's an ACOG wannabe. You could actually see right there that the reticle is currently illuminated. And you can see the reticle right there is pretty good. I'm going to get some better video of this very soon. But what do you get for $70? Well, you get something that looks authentic, but if you really look at it, this is not a several $100 ACOG. This is, in fact, a very cheap, poorly made imitation. Now, I'm all for a deal. Don't get me wrong. If you can get something that's $100, like a Romeo 5, and it performs better than $200-300 red dots, great. Cool, awesome. You're going to get your money's worth out of it. But at least the Romeo 5 is made by a legitimate company. Sig Sauer is a huge manufacturer. This is made by, or at least it's claimed to be made by On Hunt, and that doesn't sound very good if you say it pretty quickly. And you can tell these turrets are not what I would consider to be well made. There's no information on it other than R and up. The inside of the caps don't say anything. Neither do the outsides. Nothing gives you any sort of indication of which way is what and what value it has. And that's kind of important. It says up, but which way is up? Is it clockwise? Is it counterclockwise? Same with right. I know how it should be based on other good scopes that actually have everything labeled, but this does not have much. In fact, it's got very, very little. But let's give it a spin, see how they sound. They actually sound pretty damn nice, and they feel good too. Very sharp detent from click to click, almost no wobble in there. That's actually pretty surprising. And I'm going to do a tracking test on this. I'm genuinely excited to see how this is going to perform. But let's get a closer look at that reticle. So it certainly looks like it's from an ACOG, but I'll tell you one thing right off the bat. The back of this optic has to be right on your face. I wear glasses, and I'm not joking when I say, in order to look through this thing properly, I have maybe 3/8 of an inch between the housing of the optic and my glasses, and I wouldn't consider that a safe distance, even on a low recoiling rifle. That is not what I would consider good by any means of the imagination. Being counterfeit, I notice that I have to have everything shifted slightly left to be able to look through this thing straight. If I have it how I think I should have it, I actually can't look through it. So, right off the bat, we have some pretty low marks for this thing. Right off the bat, you can see these screws aren't even centered on the base to mount it to the actual optic itself. And I haven't ever seen flathead screws in this sort of position before. They're either Allen keys or they're Torx bits, not flatheads. There's a lot about this that looks the part, but I highly, highly, highly doubt this will perform anywhere near as well as a real ACOG. And one of my good friends has an ACOG that I will be getting from him eventually, if I ever get the chance to see him again, once COVID's over. And it's going to be hilarious to compare that to this. You get what you pay for. Not saying that you can't get a good or a reasonable optic for $70, especially if you go used, but something like this is not what I would consider a good purchase, unless you're just trying to do it for laughs, in which case I think it would excel well. Scott, I hope you're not going to have your feelings too hurt on this one, but I don't have very high hopes for this. In fact, I would love to do a torture test on this, but I don't think it would last very long. Anyway, huge thank you to Scott for sending this over for a review, and thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.